Hello and welcome to Be With Me, Winner Androids, with another video of Weekly Andrew, in which, if you can't already tell, I kind of gotten my hair cut. Yeah, it's about time I got around to actually cutting my hair. Second time that I've cut it myself. So, not exactly perfect, but I don't really care about it being perfect. But, yeah. Despite it being the second week of the spring 2022 anime season, which has like 26 anime that I'm currently watching, I don't really have that much I really want to talk about when it comes to anime, so yeah. Don't know what's going on, but yeah. Just two that I'm going to really talk about here before I move on to Now and Then and Lessons in Love, which I did actually get around to this week. So, starting with the dating sim anime. That's what I'm just going to call it, considering we don't really know what else to call it. Dating sim is in the name of it. That's what I'm going to call it. Because I don't want to call it Tome game, considering that's kind of villainous to me. So, um, I wasn't expecting to really enjoy this as much as other anime for this season, I think. But I think after watching these two episodes so far, I probably will enjoy it more than I was expecting to. Purely because the main character's sister is kind of a bitch. And all the guys she's trying to go after are also not very good either. So, yeah, just all those bad characters can just be grouped together and just ignored. While the good ones, yeah, the two good girls in this entire thing, from what I can tell, are going to their main character, Leon. So, Mary, main character's sister, basically has taken the spot of the game's protagonist, Olivia, I guess, and is kind of going after the prince and all of his friends, which I'm perfectly fine with considering they just fit together so well. But, yeah, due to that, the actual game's protagonist, Olivia, has kind of gone to Leon, in which also this whole thing with Mary is causing kind of driving a wedge into the prince's relationship with Angelica, which is supposed to be his fiance, in which, from what I can tell in the preview for the next episode, that relationship is going to end. In which Angelica will then end up going to Leon one way or another. So the sister gets all the bad guys, while the Leon gets the two good girls. So I think it works out perfectly here, and I will probably actually enjoy this more than I was expecting to. But yeah, that's all I really have to say for that, I guess. And the next thing, that anime that I want to talk about is, of course, Shield Hero, in which I would say I can basically sum up these first two episodes so far as is in we waited 3 years for this? Seriously, what the fuck have they been doing the last 3 years? I don't even remember everything that happened towards the end of the first season. And I can tell that they skipped crap. Seriously, I don't even know who some of these characters are at all. Sure, I'm like one or two of them I may have just forgotten about, but the rest of them that I don't know, yeah, who the fuck are they? I don't think I ever saw them in the first season. Seriously, what in the world's going on? But from my understanding, this is probably the going by other people that have actually read the source material and everything. This is the worst arc in the entire story, so I guess I'll just deal with this. But seriously, what the fuck have they been doing the last 3 years? Since the first season? When this is what we get? Yeah. I'm not going to say anything else. So, that's the anime done, I guess. So, moving on to Now and Then. With its final update, kind of, considering I'm pretty sure it will get one more update. Just to basically polish the game and everything. But, yeah. All the girls basically got one H scene, at least. So, yeah, there's also another H scene, which is basically just a threesome with Naomi, plus whatever character you chose to her question in chapter 24. So there's that, which I, of course, only got one of the options. You can only get one of those 8 scenes for the threesome there, so if you want them all, you're going to have to replay multiple times just for them all. Kind of. You just have to go back to chapter 24, so yeah. But overall in this, it is literally just the ending of the game, basically. Which all the characters got a haircut after moving into White Oak. And yeah, it just kind of goes character by character and how things played out with them. In which Carol and Sydney are end up being the only ones that she can actually get pregnant. So yeah, those two are there, of course. Other stuff, and more or less, just it's the end of the game. I don't really know what else to say, considering it's not that important. I feel like they moved to White Oak, they all got haircuts. Carol and Sydney had their kid. If you do all that, so yeah, don't really know what else that I can really say there, but one thing I do know is I will end up replaying this game at some point in the future, considering that playing through it once unlocks more scenes that you'll get if you replay the game. So I got quite a few scenes that I can see whenever I play it again, I guess. Which is mostly just extra scenes that you get throughout the story of characters that you had not actually seen yet. So like you after meeting Sydney and getting through that those few chapters meeting her, you then get more scenes for her before you actually meet her. See her perspective of things, basically. From my understanding, that's what these extra scenes are, which is nice, and I would like to see them, but yeah, I'm definitely not going to be playing the game, replaying it now, but at some point in the future, I will. And in total, I spent 80 hours playing this game, so decent amount of time there for the story and everything, but I think a few of those hours I was just kind of running in the background of my computer while I did other things, I guess. Yeah. But, lessons in love. I'm just going to say this first before actually getting to the content of the game, kind of. Uh, it's been banned on Patreon. No, it's not really Lessons in Love on Patreon, it was Legend of the Huggy Boy, now banned on Patreon. So, yeah. Patreon back in December basically forced the developer to make a safer work version of the game that he can have on Patreon. And now they've gone banned him. So they forced him to make a safer work version of the game, only to like 3 months later to just ban him afterwards. Which basically means he spent an entire month getting that safer work version done for absolutely nothing. So yeah, fuck Patreon. Seriously, I don't like Patreon at all. If you want to support these kind of games, do it on Subscribestar if that's available. If they actually have a subscribe star. So, yeah. Moving on to the actual game here, with version 23 Part 2 being released, with 4 events for Ami and Toko, while also having 2 events for Kaori and Tsubasa, and also 3 main events and a happy event. So, yeah, it's been a while since we actually had an updates like this where we had character events and main events together. But yeah, we got this, in which you first have to do both Toka's and Tsubasa's events. So, first off, you gotta do Toka, then Tsubasa, in that order, basically. In which their events are mostly just normal and not really that much happened in them, besides this being the first events that Tsubasa has gotten. So, yeah. All the rest of the events from Kaori's second event, all of Ami's events, all the main events, and the happy event are all kind of chained together. Though the happy event is one that you have to find. But, yeah. Starting with Kaori's, it's weird, which is normal, considering it's Kaori. But in the end, it kinda just has. She ends up disappearing after a blackout at Tojo Ramen. So yeah, no idea where Kaori is now. So moving on to Ami's events, in which we go to her mother's grave once again, which is something that I've actually been wondering when was going to happen again for a while now. So it's finally happened once again, and we've also learned Ami's mother's name, which is Sekai, or I guess world. But following the sadness there, I guess, it's basically a date, which is basically where everything starts getting weird, leading up to this next reset. In which, another thing to mention here, Uta seems to be missing as well, since no one's been able to contact her all day. So, Kaori went missing the previous day, and now also Uta seems to be missing. Huh. But Ami's events lead into the main events that we get in this, which are basically the reset, in which during all this we get the next happy event. Pretty much, I guess. You can get the next happy event in these here, but the A Life of Price event here, which in the game itself says that it's basically the spiritual successor to the There Is Nothing event. Yeah. A lot harder and a lot more questions. Which I'm at the very least proud that some of the notes that I've actually taken of things I've seen in the game were actually useful for this, considering I did actually not need to look up the answers basically. In which, because how the developer does things, he really does not like people giving out answers. So, yeah. I'm smart, and I just look at the script file, which has all the answers. Because you can't have the game without the script file, so just go straight to the script file and find the answers in it. So, works out there. And yeah, I have no idea how in the world you're supposed to figure out some of those answers. But I know some of them, at least half of them, that I didn't really know are things that you could have found during that event. With all the options you have and everything, it's just very tedious to do. So I'm going to guess that the other half those answers or whatever were also there, but I just didn't even notice them at all. Yeah. But during that, you lottery number, which I have mentioned before, is one thing that you need to remember here. So yeah, lottery number unlocks the happy event, which, yeah, need that, kind of, I guess. And after finally escaping the room, it is time for the actual reset and everything, in which, yeah, Ayane is once again there. Which kind of destroys Maya's entire theory about how Ayane ended up there previously. But the one big difference this time is that, well, Maya's missing. She is not there this time. Yeah! Things are getting bad, which is not very surprising considering the amount of warnings we've gotten in the last few updates. So, yeah, tons of warnings throughout the game last few updates telling you to quit playing the game, and yeah, I can tell this is getting bad. But I don't care, so I'm going to continue playing anyways. But there is the end of chapter 2 for Lessons in Love, so yeah. Next is chapter 3. Yeah, but I don't think we're actually going to get anything else for it until the rework of the beginning of the game is finished. So yeah, gotta wait for the next 2 months or something until that's done. Basically just bringing up the quality of all the early events in the game where it's just basically tons of 2D sprites still. So yeah, after all that's done, I think you'll continue and start chapter 3. I think. But yeah, one other thing to mention, I guess, is I am officially over 200 hours in Lessons in Love now. I'm pretty sure at least 50 of those were kind of first playthrough, I guess. Until I noticed the wiki, realized that you could miss events. So yeah, I kind of was a bad homie. Sorry, Ren. But the moment I noticed that, I went back and restarted the entire thing. So I wouldn't be a bad homie. Cause yeah, don't want that. So at least 150 hours in the game currently, with the playthrough I'm currently doing and everything. So, yeah. That's basically everything I had to mention for Lessons Love, and everything else is kind of just random. So, yeah. Anime! Want to mention this again. One thing I kind of noticed so far this season is subtitles for the openings and endings for anime. I'm seeing a few of those so far this season. Which is weird considering the last few years we haven't really had that at all. Though I think it was more normal before, but the last few years we just didn't have subtitles for openings and endings, but apparently that's kind of making a comeback now, considering the anime that I'm seeing this season that does have subtitles for the openings and endings. So yeah, I guess that's a nice thing. I actually can see the darn lyrics of the song in the openings and endings now, so yeah, that's a good thing, I guess. And also, another thing when it comes to anime is, yeah, previous 2 weeks, I think I completely forgot about actually mentioning this, but yeah, last season was not as good as I expected it to be, really. Mainly just due to the fact that I could tell a lot of the anime that I was watching had a lot more potential. So, kind of ended up being a bit of a disappointment there, when it could have been so much better. But so far, this season is looking pretty good, with apparently quite a few anticipated anime airing this season that I never heard of until basically the last few weeks, with an exception to Spy Family, because I've kind of known about that because of Noble. And now that I've mentioned Noble, I guess I'll go on to this as well, in which is that Noble's subathon has ended after 16 days, which to be honest is much longer than I actually expected it to last. So good job to Noble's community dragging it out this long. The timer ended up hitting 0 while I was still asleep, and also when Noble was asleep, but I was away there watching when Noble got up and ended the stream, so yeah, 16 days. Seriously did not expect it to last that long. But during this, I did get to play Among Us with Noble, and also this week, Squid Game, as you can tell with the video I uploaded Wednesday, which I seriously just cannot really bother editing that much. I did slight bit of editing. That's it, to be honest. Considering I had to put the video at the beginning and end of that for the intro and outro. So added like transitions and a bit of text on there to explain some things, but overall didn't really edit it at all. But yeah, seriously wish I could play games like Among Us, Squid Game more often. But yeah, can't really, sadly. And also, from what I can tell, the video for Squid Game was not the best quality. Probably due to settings in the game, I guess, or possibly something when it comes to OBS that made it where it wasn't capturing things perfectly. But yeah, wherever the camera was moving, a bunch is kind of blurry, I think. But not much can do about that. But yeah, I think that's there is the end of this video. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next one. Bye bye.